Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're going to discuss again what the planning commissions do, the various governmental entities within our townships and villages, and how they impact you, the residents out there.
That's right. You elected them, now they're running the show.
Yep. If you like them or not, you're going to be stuck with them until the next election, which, by the way,
is November
2014.
2014, this year.
Yes.
November.
Yes.
How many months is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I figure about 8.
Close enough. Okay. What we talk about, of course, on air here has a lot of factual information in it. Mostly. But for a little bit of humor, a little bit, we will add that to the politics, because we think that really political activity is rather sometimes humorous, if you think about it, right?
That's right, or else you'd be in depression.
That could be. Well, let's talk about the first meeting. First one we're going to go to is the Oxford Park and Rec, which we haven't talked about them in some time.
Oxford Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Who runs that?
Well, actually, that's run by a guy named Davis, Ron Davis.
Okay.
He's a director. They do have a...
he also runs the meeting?
No. He has it's actually a committee or a commission.
Right.
Which is set up of, I believe, 5 members, that kind of thing. I couldn't name all the members on there.
Is Mr. Laidler still on that? No. Or maybe he's gone?
No. Well, Ron Roop is the chairperson, I know that.
Ron Roop?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And he does a pretty good job on there, too. And it's kind of a laid-back kind of program that they run. Very casual, although there's some structure to it, like the beginning of the meeting and the end of the meeting. Very good structure. But Ron, Davis has tendency to steer them in the right direction. He's a good steerer.
Yeah, he's a very good administrator. So what did they cover?
Well, one thing that Ron wanted to talk about is the community center, that they're proposing a community center for the township, and which villagers can use too, of course.
We talked about that last week.
We did. And where is that going to go? Do you recall?
I think one of the big things is that they're going to have a vote, aren't they, to some kind of a millage in November?
Well, here's the thing.
Someone has to pay for this thing.
Right. Right now there is actually a millage applied to Parks and Rec for a bond issue that they had, and that's going to expire in the frame or the time work of when the election will occur.
Right.
So they would like the community to go ahead and approve what they would like to do in terms of this new community center.
Now, so the public isn't buying a pig in a poke, so to speak.
No.
Is there a current design for it?
No. Well, actually, they're in the process of doing that, and they're seeking information from residents. And if you go out to their website, I think it's oxfordparksrec.org. If you go out there, there is a questionnaire, and they're trying to get information on what you'd like to see in this community center. For example, everybody like bingo? Raise your hand. Okay, let's have a community room where you can do that kind of thing. What about people that like to swim? Because they lost kind of the program that they used to, coordinate with the school, because the school needs.
Wow. After about 4 months of this, the lily will be pretty well gilded.
Well, there's more gilded lilies coming along here. They're asking for other input too, like there's exercise room,
swimming pool.
A swimming pool, of course, is what I just mentioned. That they'd like to perhaps see a pool, but they're taking input. A running track is another possibility. They're in the process of gathering up information right now. So you out there, as a public, can either pick up a form, at the Parks and Rec building, and I believe it's 22 Burdick Street at the administrative buildings area. They have forms there that you can either fill out there, or you can go to their website.
And they've selected a location for this place, right?
Right. I believe they have, and it's down the road from us, I think. What's that park?
Oh, Stony Lake Park.
Stony Lake Park is where they're thinking about putting it.
Well, everyone knows where that is.
Well, except me.
Wow.
I'm fairly new. But you're out of the area, and you know where it's at.
I used to live in Oxford. I used to fish down there.
You
I
did?
used to swim down there.
And how many thousands of years was this?
eons ago.
Okay, you don't want to talk about that part, do you?
No, no.
Okay, well, that's okay. They talked about also payroll procedures that they're having, that the employees of the park used to get checks. Now, Susan McCullough, who's the clerk for the township,
Right.
is recommending that it all go through electronic system, through the bank. So
Well, that makes it a lot more efficient.
it does. As a matter of fact, they even brought up one of our employees that we have, new employee, that one of his checks, it took him 11 weeks to get it through the mail system, where he would have had it, right away.
Yeah, that can be a problem, especially if someone changes an address or something. But to have it directly deposited into your account, that's an extremely efficient way to go.
Sure.
Saves you a trip to the bank to cash it.
Yeah, you don't have to fight alligators. You're gonna have your money in there. So that, I think, is a good move, and they all agreed on that it'll actually save the township money, by the time they're done here. They talked about this drive-through Santa program that they have at Stony Creek. They said it was successful this year, and they suspect they'll do it next year.
Stony Creek or Stony Lake?
Stony Lake.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, you think you're confused. All right. So anyway, so they think that that's a pretty good program. They'll continue that more than likely next year. They ask, excuse me, Ron Davis, what kinds of problems he had, with the storm, And Ron said, well, first of all, he said, we have 4 cemeteries that we have to clean. So he said, that was fun because there were trees down all over. He said, so we had to take care of trees before we do that. He said they haven't seen anything yet, wait till springtime, but excuse
Seems
me.
appropriate. They'd be getting rid of dead wood at a cemetery.
Right. Dead wood, yeah. And they also, they plow the parking lot for the Township Hall and the Veterans Hall, which is downtown.
Okay.
There's a parking lot in the back. That's a itty bitty one up front, but you can't park there long. They run right over you with a truck.
And what
Right.
do they cart the snow away, or do they simply put it in great giant piles?
Yes,
There you go.
they do both. They actually do. They can tow it away if they have to. They shear off the corners so you can see, hey, here comes a car, unless you're an itty bitty teeny weeny car and you can't see around the corner. But anyway, they try to help you out there.
That's what periscopes are for.
Well, he was in the Navy, so he would think of that one. But
Sure.
And by the way, I won't get into that. That's another subject. I don't think people want to know. Besides, I'm heading in a different direction. Do you understand everything I just said?
No.
Well, then we'll come back in just a moment. Yeah.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Get your ass out. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Off here. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stab me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we just got through talking about Parks and Recreation. And there's probably lots more that we could say about what went on there.
But just keep in mind, there's a proposed senior center or community center that's on the boards right now. So keep your eye on it.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of the feedback that Ron Davis has already received is that a lot of people are very much for it, So, myself, I'm for it too, but I don't know about you. Well, you're in Brandon, it wouldn't make any difference. You can't sneak in unless I take you.
Well, thanks a lot.
No problem. Let's talk about Oxford Township Planning Commission Subcommittee. And
A subcommittee, what will be renamed nameless,
Well-
as opposed to the ordinance subcommittee, as opposed to the economic development subcommittee, or any other unknown subcommittee.
there might be others out there too that we're not sure about.
UFOs.
Yeah, you see a fog rolling in, it's probably a subcommittee. But anyway, this is headed up by Jack Curtis, who, by the way, does a great job out there. He, along with Todd Bell,
Is this a standing subcommittee or an ad hoc one?
oh, this is standing as far as I know. It might have started as ad hoc, but there's lots of things that have to be resolved and concluded before it gets to the Planning Commission. They make recommendation to the Planning Commission so they can shorten up the meetings in the Planning Commission, which, by the way, are quite short compared to other meetings that go on. Ed Hunwick is on that subcommittee as well.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's appointed on there though, I think. Not really, I don't believe he's elected commissioner. So he can't vote, but he can be
No.
there. So, and he does provide a lot of input. Yeah, Ed is a good man.
Is it? Are those people elected to that planning commission,
I'm glad you brought that up.
or are they appointed?
No, they're appointed by the supervisor, by the township
So
supervisor.
how did Ed Hunwick get in?
Because they needed somebody, there was a vacancy, and they appointed him.
The
Yeah, and
supervisor did,
Supervisor did,
just like the other ones.
just like the other one. Yep, except they were
Oh.
elected to office now.
Elected?
Yeah, the other members like Jack Curtis and
Are
Todd,
on the township board.
they're on the township board.
Okay.
Yep. Got it?
All right. Got
You
it.
understand
Get it.
now,
Get
huh?
it. Got
Okay.
it. Good.
All right. One of the things that came up was, interesting enough, sandwich boards.
Oh no. The kind that walk?
Yeah, well, they never discussed those, but I'm sure they probably will because Jack Curtis is on the Planning Commission for the village now. So he's all aware of what the sandwich board issue was, you know, for the village. So, anyway, trying to think of her name. Tammy Ireland. She has a business that's called Heaven Sent Doggy Spa. And she had a sandwich board out front. And the enforcer for the township came around and said, you can't have sandwich board here because township doesn't allow sandwich boards.
This
And
is in
she says, "Oh."
downtown Oxford?
Well, it's right on the outskirts. If you look across the street, there's a kind of a food and grain type business.
Do they have sandwich boards?
They do, because they're in the village. So she says, I look over there, they've got one.
And
And I
here the
can't have
twain
one.
shall meet.
But she said, I have had this board since 2013, about December 2013.
And no one has taken
Nobody
issue.
has ever taken issue.
Okay.
So anyway, so Jack says now, I know, he says, that the village went through this thing. And he says, I don't see why this should not be brought before the Planning Commission because there's some signage that needs to be brought up to date anyway. Now, that kind of blows my mind because I thought that they went through that signage issue and they resolved it much faster than the village. Apparently, they didn't resolve it all.
Oh no, they're going to dip it in and wring it out again.
But they do have an advantage in the fact that I do know that the village spent an awful lot of time honing this thing, making it so it was shine, and it does work. There's a few amendments that need to be made or addendums to it down the line, but in essence, they did a great job of putting that signage together. And I have actually talked to a lot of business people about it.
So is
up
the
and down
township
strip.
going to take a look at what the village came up with and possibly synchronize with them, as they say?
Well, here's where Jack is a smart guy. He says, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. He says, let's see what, they have in terms of their sign ordinance. He said,
What I said.
right. And Joe Young was there, and Joe says, by all means. He said, it's there for your use if you want to pull from it. And Jack says, well, we think that we should mesh, with what goes on with your ordinances and our ordinances. And very well said.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was kind of an interesting thing.
Save a
That was
lot
the
of
first thing
wheel
brought up. Yep. They also talked about LED signs. Now, originally in the
Static or
signage,
dynamic?
well, doesn't matter. LED light emitting diodes. That would be large signs projecting either financial information, or the kind of products that that company would require, that kind of thing. But when the sign ordinance for the village was put together originally, they omitted the LEDs. And I suggested at that time that they look at it because it's coming. There's people that are going to want them.
Well, that's the technology that's
Yep.
available now, and
Sure.
it gives them an awful lot of ability to change whatever's on their sign without a lot of effort.
Right. And actually, you can have an ordinance that's very friendly, user-friendly. They don't have to be red and green where they blink red and green on the highway. Of course, MDOT wouldn't allow that kind of thing to begin with, transitional signs like that.
So they have their own standard for signs by the road.
They do, but and you can be more critical of those signs internal, to the village. But let's face it, they're here to stay, and in 15 years, 20 years from now, I mean, it's going to be an issue they're going to have to talk about probably before that. As a matter of fact, they are now, because I'm trying to think of the credit union that we had talked about that have applied. Genesis, yes. They're going to build a new building. They're going to remove 3 pieces of property in order to build it. It's going to have a couple of drive-throughs in. They're presenting that plan to the next Planning Commission meeting, site plan and other information that's needed by the Planning Commission. Excuse me. And one of the things they're asking for is an LED sign. Okay. So they're going to need 2 variances actually put together there. One is going to be a...
Well, there's 2 basic kinds of LED signs when you really get down to it. Whether it's static or dynamic doesn't make any difference. One is a display of letters and words, and another one is a completely dynamic, almost like a TV screen. So maybe they have to take care of that while they're at it.
Well, they need to do that once they get into it, but they'll have to be rezoned from C1 or C2 zoning to conditional zoning. And that's another issue. They have to, of course, get the ability to use the LED sign out there. There's other things they talked about, economic development. They want to bring a lot of these big contractors together. One they mentioned was trademark properties, which seems to be buying up properties all over and becoming a big player within this area. So when they do this, they're going to have a gentleman from Oakland County that's going to come and do a presentation before these people and see what they can do in terms of new businesses in this area. You know what? We'll discuss that a little bit more when we come back right after this.
What will you build? A wall? A roof? A doorway? Or will you build a stronger family? Healthier children? A better future? What will you build? Habitat for Humanity builds simple, decent, affordable homes and so much more. Each day in nearly 90 countries, Habitat volunteers, donors and families are building houses, hope and brighter futures. So what will you build? Find out at habitat.org and help build it.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we just got through talking about subcommittee for the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And really, there's a couple other things that we need to talk about, and that is what kind of properties or businesses can we bring into this area to make it, make Oxford, more friendly. One thing we're looking at is hotels, maybe. Jack says, we got all kinds of things going for us here. We have trails that you can bike on, you can ride horses on, you got safety path, all those kind of things, Oxford has a great number of things that they can, bring to the plate, for new businesses wanting to come into this area, or families that want to come into this area as well. By the way, one of the things they're talking about is the Irish pub. You remember that one?
It's up, it's down, it's up, and I hear it's up again.
It's up again. And it's, by the way, going to be called probably Sullivan's. It's going to be an Irish pub. It's going to be named more than likely Sullivan's. And that's still up for conjecture. We'll find out. Won't we?
Well, inquiring minds want to know.
Yes, we do.
And when do they propose to be open?
Well, right now they have scaffolding in there. They're doing electrical. They're doing all kinds of things. So there's activity going on in there right now. Let me see. Grant money. They're looking for grant money for the safety paths, which that's an ongoing thing. They'll continue to do that. The big thing is international education based here. And there's a lot of things that we might need in our area, like another Chinese restaurant, true Chinese, where they serve Mandarin food. They're looking at...
Assuming that's where the Chinese come from.
Well, that's where Jack thinks they're coming from. So he's the one bringing up the suggestion here. One thing that they really could use here, Jack pointed out, is a vocational school. You know, for people that aren't necessarily going to go for a 4-year education.
Right, right.
A degree.
Didn't that used to be like a county-based system?
Well,
vocational school, Northeast Oakland vocational school?
Used to be, but I'm told by these folks on the board that they have a problem getting tool and die makers. It's almost non-existent. They can't find people to do tool and die anymore. And yes, they can get people that program robots, but they can't get people that build robots, have the mechanical skills to do it. So those are two of the issues that Jack brought up under the vocational school. What about a bike shop in town here? A lot of bikes run up down Pollyanna Trail and all over the place. Where are they getting the bikes?
I thought we had a bike shop.
We used to, but they're gone.
Where'd they go?
Who knows? Where are all the people? I don't know. But anyway, they disappeared. But that's something that we probably need to have. Another thing for an interesting conversation is with these vehicles that need charging, electrical power charges, and bicycles too. A lot of bikes, they have electric bikes. And Jack said, we don't have the ability to plug them in and charge them. Now DTE has a piece of equipment that will allow you to do that. Of course, there's a little charge for doing it. Get that charge?
That's revolting.
Right, that's revolting. Yes. Okay, so anyway, so that might be a business, that would have fruit within this area.
Okay,
that people ought to think about.
To it.
Yep. One more thing, and we're going to run by this quick. This village council, this is an agenda that they had. They had an ordinance amendment, 2 conditional zoning standards, and they had the first reading on that. Definitely, conditional zoning is changing C1 to something that doesn't conform, let's say, in that particular area. There might be residential within that area, and C1, if it meets certain criteria, then it could fall under that jurisdiction. And the code on the end would be C1 transition / CR. That would be what it would be designated as.
That's not confusing at all.
It's not confusing, but you'll see CR on it. And that's kind of a critical issue, but here's the thing. The village...
What caused that to come up?
Well, because there are instances within Oxford, in the village, that there is residential, but there's a great big building like 98 Glassby Street that we're attempting to sell at this point.
Right.
And by the way, we have 2 bids on that so far.
There was a manufacturing outfit that was going to go
there's
there.
another one that just came forward. And right now their bid is $300,000. The other one was $200,000. I'm on that committee to work with the attorney and the village manager. And I can tell you that it's swinging the way we think it would be. It's going to be as sold, I think.
Knowing you, that's toward $300,000.
Well, it's got to get more than that. It's worth more than that, I think.
Sure.
But in order to...
They paid a lot more than
Yeah,
that.
but to establish what its true value is, they need to have a analysis of the value. In other words, they need to bring a professional in and check it. So that was approved at the village council to do that, and they allowed up to $3,000 to do that.
Okay.
So once we know the value, then we can go ahead full speed. Now another thing that they did is they wanted to approve a tax amendment for exemption for that district, for the conditional district that we're attempting to sell. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to get it, but it means that we prepare ourselves to have it as a negotiating tool as we go along.
Which would mean that taxes would be allayed for 1 or 2 or 3 years for whoever moves in there.
Up to 10 years is what
I see.
I'm looking for. But anyway, so that's what's going on. When it all concluded, and they asked if there's anything else that needed to be discussed, we raised our hand, said sandwich boards to go, need to go. So that needs to go to the Planning Commission, make a recommendation to have an addendum, to that.
I've been battling sandwich boards for
I'm tired of sandwiches.
as long as I can ever think about it.
Are you tired of sandwiches? Okay. What do we got coming up?
Well, we do have meetings on February 18th at 7 o'clock. The Addison Township Public Library will be meeting, and also at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. On the 19th at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Public Library Board, and at 7 o'clock also the Addison Township Fire Board. And at 3 o'clock, the Pollyant Trail Management Council, and this time they're going to be meeting at Rowland Hall in Leonard. On the 20th, Oxford Township, at 5 o'clock, Oxford Township Planning Commission Ordinance Review Subcommittee. Check on that one because sometimes they don't meet. At 4:30, North Oakland Transportation Authority, and this time they'll be meeting at the village offices in Oxford. And on the 24th, our parent organization, the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, will be meeting at the Vets Hall.
Oh, do you have any idea what's going to be going on at the Communications Commission meeting?
Never do. It's always a surprise.
Oh, okay. All right. How are the roads out there, by the way, in Leonard? I know you mentioned Leonard.
I don't know. I haven't been in Leonard. I don't do meetings anymore, so I don't go out that way anymore.
Well, what's with that?
Well, that's what you guys do.
Who's you guys?
Yous guys.
Okay. Well, until next time, this is Elgin Eccles for Minutes by Minute.
And Dave Kenny.
And we'll catch you then.
Hello, BJ Stapp here with Maggie, the fire safety dog from the Oxford Fire Department. Just reminding the residents of Oxford to check to make sure you have working smoke detectors. And if you are in need of smoke detectors, please visit our website or stop in at Fire Station 1 during normal business hours to fill out an application to have a free smoke detectors installed in your home.
At Oakland County Parks and Recreation, we value what you value: family relationships, community connections, good health, environmental stewardship, and economic stability. Oakland County residents and businesses have invested in preserving nearly 7,000 acres of parkland. Since 1966, 13 parks and golf courses have been acquired, maintained, and improved. Oakland County parks and facilities are made possible by millage funds supported by Oakland County residents. For a home valued at $200,000, the homeowner pays less than $25 per year to support the Oakland County parks. With every generation, families create lifelong memories at Oakland County's award-winning parks. From exciting summer escapades and stories around the campfire to brisk fall walks on wooded trails and snowy winter outings, the outdoors beckons year-round.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.